Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And in this episode I think what we'll be doing is working along the side section here. We'll get that extruded in, and then we're going to have a think about extracting all of the individual panels. So they've got the rear bumper section here, we've got kind of an insert section up here that we'll need to look at, around the door, to the roof, and then I think around the front section here. So once we've done that, I think what we'll be able to do is start to add some of the details, and start thinking about smoothing a lot of the body elements, and then we can continue maybe on with the wing, windows and lights and all that good stuff. So I think what we'll do with this front section here is we're going to want to extrude this in. Now I'm not 100% sure how I want to do this. There's a few ways we could do it. I think firstly it would probably be important to make sure that we have the correct amount of lines. So here, for example, we'd want this face. We can't have this face match up with this face because that would leave us a triangle just here. And then we get back. Now in this rear section it looks like there's actually a large radiator as part of the reference images, so it doesn't look like we need to fill in this actual rear section. We just need to kind of take it in here and apply a curve between, and we can maybe stop that as part of this section here. Let me just adjust my reference images to get a good angle of this. Looks pretty good. So I think what we'll do is, it looks like it's fairly shallow here, and then it gets further and further in as we go. So the first thing we'll do is we'll add a new line inside here. So we're going to insert an edge loop, and we'll go roughly in the middle of these two bits here. And what we'll do is we'll just double check and make sure that that looks good in our top view here, so we can see that we can maybe help make this curve a little bit nicer. Everything else there looks pretty good, quite happy with that. So what we'll maybe want to do is we could do this two ways. We can grab all the edges like this and we could extrude in, or we could purely just connect all these faces and extrude in as a face. Now I think that would be the better option in terms to get the curvature, but it looks like maybe the radiator comes to about this point here. So what we'll do is we'll extrude in just like this for now. So we'll drag this in just a little bit, and we want to make sure we've got curvature here. Now this doesn't go straight in, so what we'll do is we'll pull back on this section here. So maybe what we'll do is, we'll pull back there, maybe pull back a little bit, and then deselect these sideways ones, and we'll maybe come back just, let's use a move tool for that. Deselect those elements up there, we'll just pull the front ones here. Now what I want to do with these as well is, before we go any further, is I just want to maybe pull these down just a little bit, because again it's fairly soft at first and then it kind of moves up a little bit steeper at the top there. Maybe something like that. And then at the bottom here we maybe want to do the same. So take these two and maybe pull those up slightly. And the same for here. I think what we might do is we'll just take all of these up slightly. Pull down here. So I'll just pull those up just a little bit there. So what we'll do now is we'll maybe grab all of the we'll maybe grab all the bottom portions. So we'll take this one down here. Now it looks like we're going to want to grab those ones there, because these ones are going to go in a little bit on the side here. So we'll hit Ctrl E on those, and we'll just pull those up. Let's see how we manage to fit here. Now again, like I said, we don't want to merge this one here, because that's going to leave us with a little triangle. Now the triangle could be beneficial because it could give us an additional line inside there, but I think what we'll do is we'll snap this one up here and merge that in. Do the same here. Now we have 1, 2, 3, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So it may be a case that maybe we could add a few more in here. Maybe drop one in the middle here, and again we can maybe use this to help shape our sections up here. So that looks pretty good. So we can snap up there. Again, we can edit mesh there and merge those. Maybe bring this one up as well. This one looks like it'll be good to go here. Now I think what we'll do is we'll maybe add another line inside here as well. So we'll insert an edge loop just here. The reason we'll do that is because this will help us shape that roof section quite nicely. Let's just also make sure we're looking okay with those additions in the side view here. Maybe we'll want to pull that one up a little bit. Okay, pull this one down. I want to get all of these actually a little bit lower as well. Follow that kind of, looks like it's kind of a section of the window in there. So again, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to have to be careful here because we can see that that line's actually ran all the way down that edge section there. So I'm going to grab all of that. Oops. We'll deselect all the ones that we've created here. We don't want these to actually run down this rear edge, and we are going to go to edit mesh and we'll delete edge and vertices. Just get rid of that there. What we want to do is we'll maybe want to add a vertices inside here using the polygon tool there, and we're going to insert an edge loop to run across, something like that. And what we'll do with this is we'll just pull that up just a little bit, something like that. Just kind of help maintain that roof curvature, and then we can bring these points here together. And that will allow us then to extend this line here to there. Maybe we don't want that to be any higher than this one. Just want to make sure that this is nicely curved and smoothed going down here. You can also check the top real quick. That new line we've just added, just to make sure that we can use this to help maximize any curves as well. It's looking pretty good. So that means now we can merge this point up here, and we can merge this point up here. So let's see if we can see in the blueprints here. So we can see kind of the start of the radiator here. So we want to maybe mimic this line. The radiator kind of sits at an angle, which is going to cover all of that section there. And then the last thing I think we'll do is we will select all these points here, and we can, if I can see it, oh, there we go, mesh and fill hole. Okay, so it's looking a bit messy just now, but it's not too bad. So what we'll try to do now is we'll grab all of these bits here. Now the one thing that we need to be wary of is this door as we go down. So what we'll do is we'll grab all the faces here, we'll hit Ctrl E, and let's maybe try not on the bold option just now. Let's just scale it in as it is, something like that. Then we could just pull that in. Let's maybe scale that a little bit more. something like that. It's looking okay. So the first thing we'll want to do is we'll want to get rid of this extra face here. And what we're going to want to do now is we are going to want to kind of straighten out all of the aspects of this here. So first we want to make sure that our starting point here is actually aligned quite nicely. This is going to follow along the line of the door, which is going to run along and up here. We'll want to make sure here that these sections, these elements here, are following the line of the door as well, before we do anything else. What we'll actually be doing is we'll actually add some more geometry inside here to follow this around. But what we want to do right now is we kind of want to have the correct shape moving around here. So we're going to want these maybe dropping down a little bit, just to kind of make that curve a little bit smoother. Here we get all of these aligned here as well, and in the right direction. So all of these lines here, I would say we're gonna want these to get further and further down every time. And what we'll kind of try and do is we're going to try and kind of straighten them out as we go. Because it looks like this point here is actually the most severe inset section. So we'll bring this down here, bring these down as well, something like that. And then we'll maybe bring these points here a little further up like so. So these bits, this line here is probably what we're going to want to have that lower main section sitting. That's just here, like so. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And what we want to do now is we want to use a perspective view here to kind of pull these sections in and out. So like we've said already, and we can see on reference images, this section here is fairly shallow, so we're going to pull that all the way out, something like that. These bits here are going to be something similar, but these are going to kind of mark the trajectory of the rest of the angle. So we'll have something like that. And that. So we can see that we're trying to maintain that kind of same shape there. Now, this comes further and further in, so we're going to start going in at this point here. And the way that this actually works is it's not really as deep as it looks, because it's dark, I guess. It maybe looks a little bit deeper, but what actually happens, it looks to me as if it kind of slowly goes in at that point there, and then at these last 2 points here, it actually goes in really severely, so it kind of really curves around and into that radiator section. So it looks something more like that over here. And it looks that maybe, just double check here, looks like maybe the top does the same. So here we're going to pull these points all the way in and around. Something like that. And then we kind of want the rest here just to reflect a similar kind of curvature to the bottom, I think. Again, we can put a little bit more detail in this when it comes to that details, when it comes to applying details to all the different sections. So we'll bring that in just like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good now. Okay, so I think what we'll do for now is we're just going to leave that as it is, and we're just going to quickly address the door. So you can see here that what we're going to want is, in this section, we're going to want to be able to go down and around here like so. and then connect to this point here. Now, because we've attached the door to that section, what we could do is we could try to make this door help maintain that curve. So we could bring this in just a little bit here. Just so it's inset rather than just matching the way it is. That's pretty good. So kind of got our line there for the door underneath. Now, that looks pretty happy with that. So what we could have a do, what we could do now, what we could have a think about, should I say, is we could have a think about how we're going to extract all of these panels now. So you can see that we've got our door shape set up quite nicely. We have a line here and under here which we used to extract down there, and we've got the two sections up and around here. So it looks like we could start extracting panels, or it looks like we could have a go at the windscreen area. We'll maybe do the windows just now. Let's have a look to see how that works. No, what we'll do is let's extract the panels, so we'll do that. So, what I think I'll maybe do with the extraction here is I may do the first one, and then I'll run around and quickly do the rest and speed the video up just a little bit. So I think the first one we'll do is we'll maybe do this bumper here, where it matches or meets the bonnet, should I say. And what we want to do before we start extracting anything is we want to make sure that we're sitting on one side of this line. So the easiest one of this line to cut out is going to be the top, because that means that we can have it just meet this edge here, and that'll be fine. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to make sure that all of our sections here are aligned nicely to the bottom. And we can see that if you was with us for the Lamborghini video, that this is going to be a little bit different when it comes to these edges than it was in the Lamborghini video, because these ones are slightly more beveled, a little bit softer in terms of the actual edge themselves. So what we'll do is we'll get those in line. There, we'll make sure the side one's in line as well. So again, what we want to do with this one is we'll want to align this one to the top, because it's going to be easy for us to cut along where the headlight is. So that's pretty good. We can check all this against the actual top, just to make sure it's aligning nicely as well. So again, we want to be in the same position along the edge of this joint, like so. And again, we want to be on the bottom this time here, so just want to make sure that we're sitting nicely across the bottom section here. Okay. That looks pretty good. That looks like it's ready to go. Now, one thing we may need to consider first is this scoop inside here. So it's the only thing we didn't really factor in when we start to put the bonnet section together. So what we could do is we could have a think about how this is going to work just now. So let's get this positioned along the top of it. We can move it around like so. So it looks like what we'll probably want to do is we'll maybe want to add a little bit of geometry in for this. Let's just reposition some of these elements here. So what we could do is, for now, I'm just going to drop in two vertices using this the multi-cut tool just there, and we are going to insert two edge loops, one here, and as soon as we drop it in, I'm just going to pull it out slightly. Let's see how it falls down here. That looks good. That's going to help us curve there. So maybe what we'll do is we'll drop it a bit closer to this edge here. And again, just pull that out just so it helps that curvature. What we'll be able to do with this is we'll be able to just pull this down So just going to help all of this curve here, so you can see now we can help pull that down just a little bit there. And what we'll want to do is we'll insert an edge loop again. And this time we'll go maybe something like this. And again, I want to make sure that we're helping curve this section here. Something like that. And then at the front here again, what we can do is we can kind of help follow the line there. And in doing so, we'll probably want to make sure that this kind of follows as well. Can maybe have these two bubble down slightly too, just like that. And that looks okay at the front. And we'll check that in the top view. Just make sure that we're sitting how we should with these new lines here and here. Maybe get these and pull these out as well. Okay, so we may need to shuffle these around when it comes to the smoothing, so we'll just leave them like so. And what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to make sure that we can actually facilitate this line. So let's do this to here. Here. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we kind of following the curvature that we created before. And we can maybe pull these down as well, because we know that that section here is quite curved as it goes. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So what we'll want to do here now is we'll want to kind of draw down this section here. And then we'll maybe do the same around here. Okay, now there's a few ways we could do this a little bit here. So we want to have this kind of section coming around here, but could maybe add an additional line inside this section here. Just before we start thinking about this, just make sure we're maintaining what we already have. We can maybe use these lines up here to help go around that corner there. Okay, so what we could do here is we could do a few things. We could maybe pull all of this section here. Show them the world option here. We could pull all of these down like so. Along with this bit here. And select all of these and bring these down to match. So we could do something like that. Just kind of make more of a gap. Maybe we'll go even further with these parts here. Take this bit down as well. See, we're fairly low here anyway, so we can bring all this down, like so. And again, maybe we'll drop this down a little bit more down here. And these parts down here. Maybe try and do that without grabbing everything in between. Let's just do. This is the awkward part now of having everything selected at once. So let's try that again. Take these down. Down there. Then we could just make sure these are nicely in line. Maybe do something like that. Again, from this point out after all that undoing. It's always important just to double check in the perspective as well, because that's what's going to be telling the whole story for us inside here. So it looks like maybe this bit here wants to come up just a little bit. Okay. So what we could do is ultimately we could drop another line inside here, which is going to help us create this section. Now what we'll want to do, let's just double check. So we're going to want to drop a line in between here. So what we'll do at this point is we'll just make a little bit more of a gap just in the wheel arch section here, and we'll just pull all these points down. And again, because the car here, the shape itself is actually fairly simple, and we can now insert an edge loop, and we'll go just something like that. Now what we'll actually do is we'll maybe insert a multi-cut just here, which is going to stop our edge loop falling, going off too high there, and we're just going to drop that something like this, because we're going to want it to be fairly close, but we want to kind of reflect the angle that we have there. So we're going to pull this down like so, and again make sure that this fits as it should. Okay. These spots here are going to have to go fairly close at first. What we could do is we can actually, at this point, we can actually bring these away like so. So you can see on here that we do want these to be considerably lower, like so. And then we can insert an edge loop around here, which we can instantly pull into position up here, and then we can wedge these together. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. That's kind of got the base of that area laid out for us just there. Okay, cool. So what we'll do is we'll leave this episode here, I think. In the next episode, we'll go through slicing all these components apart. I'll maybe go through the first with you like we said, and once we've extracted this front section here, I'll go through and fast forward me extracting all of the subsequent sections. Okay guys? Cool.